Here's something nobody wants to admit about customer retention. Most customers don't leave you in some sort of dramatic moment. They don't storm out, they don't send an angry email. They just drift, then refuse to return. One poor experience, a slow reply, a promise missed, or a problem that keeps happening. And then one day they renew somewhere else, they buy from someone else, or they just stop recommending you. That's what we're fixing today. Hi there, I'm Connor from Serve First, and in this video we're talking about customer retention strategies that actually work. Not loyalty schemes, not big rebrands, not discounts. We're talking about closing the gap between feedback and action. Because retention isn't built in dashboards, it's built in the everyday moments your customers actually feel. 50% of customers will switch after just one bad experience. So let's take a look how to fix that. Retention lives in the moments you don't measure. Most retention problems don't show up as a clean, trackable KPI. They show up as friction. So for example, the customer who has to chase you for an update, or the client who stops replying as quickly as they used to, or the store experience that feels completely different depending on which location they visit. This is where a lot of the brands accidentally sabotage themselves. They treat retention like a marketing program when it's actually an operations reality. High-performing brands flip that thinking completely. They treat retention like a standard they run, not a campaign they launch just once a quarter. Big difference. All right, so here's a really simple model that you can use to stress test any retention plan you've got. 3 steps. So 1, acquire the right signals. These must be the right things. High-performing brands capture the feedback that actually predicts repeat behavior and churn risk. That means structured scores like CSAT, NPS, and also unstructured stuff like reviews and comments. They analyze the patterns and causes. Trends are useful, but root causes are gold, because averages don't tell you what's breaking, patterns do. Action, followed by the right person, and this is the bit most brands completely miss. A weekly report doesn't fix a queue. It doesn't fix a broken process or a slow response time. People do. So high performers turn insights into clear next steps, assigned to specific owners with a way to confirm it actually got done. This is where platforms like Serve First naturally fit. The whole thing's built on one simple belief. Data is only useful if it helps someone do something. The platform helps teams move from interesting feedback to AI-generated insights, ready-made action plans, and automated workflows that actually get fixes moving. So what do the top brands do differently when it comes to retention? Retention isn't owned by just one team, not a high-performing brand anyway. CX owns experience standards, marketing owns the expectations, and CRM owns lifecycle and renewals. Ops owns delivery. The best teams build a shared rhythm so that retention becomes part of how they actually operate. Daily, you need to spot and fix these issues. Weekly, you need to review patterns and remove repeat pains. Monthly, you should be improving standards, training teams, and refining those journeys. The rhythm matters because it turns retention from, yeah, it's a priority, into an actual habit. They focus on the few signals that predict churn early. Want to actually increase retention? Stop staring at averages. Averages hide churn. Serve First's approach is to consolidate all feedback streams into one view, then use the AI to surface what's slipping, where and why. That's how you stop guessing and start prioritizing the fixes that actually protect retention. High-performing brands reduce the mental load by turning feedback into 3 things. A clear insight, what's wrong and why. A clear owner, who needs to act. And a clear next step, what to do right now. This is the difference between reporting and actually running the business. It's also the difference between a retention strategy that sits in a slide deck and one that shows up in the customer experience by lunchtime. They close the loop fast. Then they tell the customer. If you want customers to stick around, you have to actually prove you heard them. Fast fixes do 2 things at once. They remove the reason the customer might leave, and they build the trust that you'll show up when it matters. Almost 60% of UK consumers say a poor customer service experience will stop them making a repeat purchase. Inconvenience, like a clunky purchase process or difficult returns, can also lose customers. So closing the loop isn't a nice to have, it's a retention lever. Serve First supports this by automating workflows and helping teams confirm completion. So issues don't just get noticed, they actually get fixed. They build consistency into the experience. Consistency is massively underrated as a retention strategy. Customers don't compare you to your competitors every single day. They compare you to your own best day. Multi-site brands, franchises, customer-facing operators, they win on standards. Cleanliness, speed, friendliness, availability. Did you actually do what you said you'd do? When consistency breaks, loyalty breaks. And because reviews now influence discovery and trust so heavily, inconsistency doesn't just hurt retention, it hurts acquisition too. You don't need 30 different tactics, you need a system that you can actually run. Here's a simple fix-first workflow that high-performing brands use. Step 1, start with 2 or 3 feedback streams. Pick from what you already have. So these can be things like surveys, CSAT, NPS, reviews, Google or App Stores, support tickets, or help desk themes. Step 2, define at risk in plain English, not just a score, a pattern, like 2 negatives in 30 days on the same theme, 1 major complaint from a high value account, or NPS drop off of X points month on month. And step 3, route the next best action to an owner. This is where the speed appears. Assign the fix to a person who can actually resolve it, not a person who writes the report about it. Step 4, confirm completion. Make it dead simple to prove it's actually been done. The proof matters for accountability, learning, and consistency. And step 5, review weekly or repeat causes. Weekly is the sweet spot. Frequent enough to stay ahead, not so frequent it becomes noise. Serve First was designed around this, turning feedback into insights, then into actions, and then into workflows that actually move. That's why teams spend less time analysing spreadsheets and more time fixing these actual problems. Now look, high-performing brands don't have some sort of secret sales retention trick, they just do the basics better. They spot issues earlier, they fix them faster, and they run consistency like a standard. They turn feedback into action, not just endless analysis. If you want to increase customer retention, build a fix-first rhythm that your teams can actually sustain, then scale it. If you want to see what that looks like with an AI-powered insight and automated workflows that actually move things forward, there's a link in the description to book a demo with me, because retention grows when action becomes a habit, not when it becomes another quarterly initiative that fades into 6 weeks. If this was helpful, hit subscribe. We're putting out videos on customer experience, retention, and frontline performance every single week.